Does your business provide a quality service or product? If the answer is yes, then there is a combination of tactics that can be customized to fit your unique business that makes your business super profitable, creates wealth, and makes a difference in the process. I know this because I've built a few tiny businesses to more than $70 million. You're listening to the Entrepreneurs Radio Show. Conversations with self-made millionaires and high-level entrepreneurs that will grow your business. Hey, it's Travis Lane Jenkins. Welcome to episode number 124 of the Entrepreneurs Radio Show, a production of RockstarEntrepreneurNetwork.com, where each and every week I'm going to connect you with rockstar entrepreneurs that explain their journey to success and what the key principles are to finding a high level of success, so that you can see that successful people are just everyday people just like yourself that stayed committed to taking constant focus action. Now today I'm going to introduce you to Donna Krech. Although before we get started, I want to remind you that there's 3 ways that you can take these interviews with you on the go. You can go through iTunes, Android, or Stitcher. There's actually several more than that, but these are the easiest ones. Just go to RockstarEntrepreneurNetwork.com and click on either the iTunes, Android, or Stitcher on the menu bar, and it will take you directly to the podcast. And that way you'll be able to subscribe to the show. Several of those have very tough search functions, so it's tough to find the show that you're looking for. This will take you directly there. Now that we don't have a whole lot of housekeeping in this episode, what do you say we go ahead and get down to business? Donna, welcome to the show.
Hey, Travis. Thanks for having me.
I'm super excited to hang out with you.
Hanging out is one of my favorite things, but I got to tell you, when we're hanging out and talking about success and money and meaning and happiness and the stuff in life that matters, that's my favorite kind of hangout.
I'm completely with you, 1,000%. Hey, I don't know if you know normally how we do this, but I love to get kind of the backstory that brought you to the success that you have today. Do you mind sharing that story with us?
I do not. I'll go way back, just so that you really get to know who I am. My daddy was an alcoholic. Now, I'm going to tell you that he loved me. There's no question about that. But I do remember him telling me I was stupid, and unfortunately, that kind of stays with you. Stuff.
Right.
My most vivid memory, though, when I work with people on their story and helping them publish their book and produce their product and all that, I go into a person's story, and my most vivid memory in my story is me pushing a baby stroller. It was in Midland, Texas. It was in July. It was about 115 degrees. I exaggerate not. And this stroller is totally rickety. I paid 25 cents for it at a garage sale. So I'm afraid it's going to fall apart. Tarantulas to the right of me and sandburrs on my feet. And as I am pushing this baby stroller, I am sobbing. Now, not crying, sobbing. And the reason I am sobbing, as I am sweating, as I am walking through this desert, is because I am pushing this baby to a carryout to buy her milk. And the tears are flowing because the last money I have on earth is jingling in my pocket. Operative word there is jingling. I don't have a clue how I'm going to feed her next time she's hungry. And that stayed with me, Travis. It's as real today, well, almost as real today as it was then. The reason it isn't as real today is because I've been blessed to achieve so much now and been able to go on and teach other people to achieve so much that now that is real in my memory, but not real as my reality. Now, it goes a little farther because my husband has beaten cancer 4 times, 2 with a 0% cure rate.
Wow.
So, we're thrilled to help people increase their health as well as their income and decrease their stress and all the stuff that goes with, that beaten cancer world. I have been through lawsuits in business. I've been through the absolute terror of not having a clue how you're going to cover your bills. Been held hostage by a team member. kind of made some wrong, not kind of, I made some wrong decisions and know what it's like to be held hostage by a team member, gone through some serious self-doubt. And probably the biggest turning point for me was we have a life coaching certification in our company. We have about 7 different companies, and that's one of the companies that we have. And we worked with a master coach to develop the life coaching certification. And so he and I got pretty close as we were working together. And one day we're having a conversation, and I'm talking about how I'd really rather be doing more of the, getting out there and really helping business owners and doing more speaking and helping people to do what I've done, not just building my own network. We have about 150 locations across the nation in our network, and I wanted to do more than that. And he says to me, well, Donna, I don't know why you don't just do what you want to do. And I said, Otto, you don't get it. You don't get it. I have to run this company. I'm the only person stepping up for the job. I don't have somebody else in here. I have to do this. I have to take care of this. I have to do these things. I have to see that bills get covered. I have to see that money comes in. I have to. And he cut me off, Travis, and he said words I'll never forget, ever, ever. He said, man, Donna, I never thought I'd hear you talk like such a victim.
I like that.
I mean, I just wanted to kill him. I wanted to if he'd have been in front of me, I would have put my little fingers around his neck. How dare you? I'm a survivor. Do you know what I've lived through? Do you know what I've achieved? Do you know what I've done? I mean, I was so mad. I couldn't stand it. And I hung up because I was angry. It probably took 2 or 3 days, not very long, for me to realize he was 100% right. And at that point in time, everything changed because I realized people go out of business every day. People file bankruptcy every day. I didn't have to do what I was doing. I was choosing that. I was choosing to do what I was doing. Right. And if I was choosing to do what I was doing, then by golly, I was going to win. And I just began to look at it completely differently. Every cell in my body came alive again. I no longer felt like I had to do anything. And everything then quadrupled in results. And results actually had been pretty doggone good up to that point.
When was this? When was this turning point?
My conversation with Otto was probably about 4 years ago.
Uh-huh. And so what did you change? To me, it sounds like you started eliminating the things that you don't want to do and just focused on the things that you did. Ultimately, well, is that it?
Here's the thing. I call this 60-second success. I think in 60 seconds, you can do a check to see where you are relative to the success you want to have. Okay? So it involves 3 components. The want-to-dos, the need-to-dos, and the measurables. Okay, the want-to-dos are what you're speaking to right now. What do I want to do? What do I want to be doing? And am I doing some of the things that I love to do that I want to be doing? Because that has to be a component. Otherwise, you feel kind of suffocated.
Right.
Am I also doing the things I need to be doing? Okay, so in my case, that was running the company at the time. Now, I'm very excited to tell you that in the last few months, I've put on a director of operations in my company, but I was doing it all. So 7 companies, 150 locations across the nation, plus I'm writing books, plus I'm speaking, plus we have a living laboratory that's a local business, plus, right? So I needed to still fulfill that role. And that's the thing I've been running away from. I think a lot of times, if we're honest, entrepreneurs run away from things. We're entrepreneurs, right? So if we don't like it over here, we run over there. And we need to be doing what we need to be doing in order to be able to go over there. So 60-second success is, am I doing what I love to do, what I want to do? Am I also doing what I need to do in order to do more of what I want to do? And then the measurables is the third piece. And that's, how do I know? What numbers am I looking at to tell me? So I looked at numbers in what I needed to be doing. Was I seeing an increase? I looked at numbers in what I wanted to be doing. Was I seeing an increase? And then I was able to kind of steer the ship and turn in a different direction so that I could go where I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm. Would you consider that KPIs, key performance indicators? Or
listen, I got to tell you, this is one of the most amazing things about business. Is that there's one thing you can do that will always guarantee an increase in your business. One thing, and that's measure. So whatever your KPIs are, and I would say that yes, those are more behavior KPIs than just performance KPIs. They're both. Mm-hmm. But whatever yours are, I'm telling you, Travis, and I've lived this now for 30 years in business. If you will measure and watch those numbers daily, minimum weekly, your success will increase. No maybe, just because you're measuring.
Oh, without a doubt. That gets measured gets done, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, there's a large number of people that don't look at those key numbers even on a monthly basis, much less weekly or daily.
I think the thing that's most amazing to me, and I know that it is true, but that's why you and I are out here helping people, is that people really don't know their numbers. And if they just get acquainted with some of the basics, I really believe in purpose-led profit. That's the philosophy. My team calls that the Donna Krech way of doing business. And what that means is that we focus on money and meaning. I really believe that we're all here with gifts and talents and abilities. I call it your calling. There are 4 questions I can ask a person. Usually takes about 4 or 5 minutes to determine what their calling, their destiny, their purpose is. And I believe we can focus on that. And I wanted to fulfill my full calling, but I also wanted to make money. Being whole and fully alive doesn't mean making money. It doesn't mean just having meaning. It's both. Being whole and fully alive is money and meaning. And I think a lot of times entrepreneurs are either really, really meaning focused, right? Mm-hmm. Or they're really, really money focused.
Right.
And I really believe that not just success financially, but success as a human being, along with including financial success, happens when you start focusing on being whole.
Oh, I can verify that for you. I was fortunate enough to where I'd reached a point personally in my life of coming from a background with nothing. I grew up in an environment where we had nothing. We didn't go without shoes, but I didn't have an extra pair of shoes. And by my late 30s, I could travel the world, play golf, and virtually retire. But I was unhappy, and I found myself asking the question, is this really it? Is this really it? Because for a little while, it was great. But shortly after that little while, and so what I'm getting at is I didn't have that deeper purpose.
How do you think you found yours? How do you think you figured it out? Or are you still on that journey?
Well, I had to have my rear handed to me to where I had success for a long period of time. I lost someone in my family that was super, super close to me. And so I wasn't in a mental space to be present in my business. And I had not systemized my business at the time. And so I went through this phase of being, pretty wealthy to losing everything. And in that process, I was fortunate enough to where I made it back in a very short period of time, 18 months, but I found my true purpose, and my true purpose was helping other people, something above and beyond myself and enriching me and my family. And so tragedy, very extremely tough times allowed me to find that, and I'm not sure how I would have found it had that not happened.
My life verse, Travis, is there's a thing you know how to do that no man's had to teach you. And you know that it's true. It's your calling, your destiny, your purpose, your anointing. And not only have I lived that so much in my life and not always living it. When I teach purpose-led profit, there were times that it was just about profit. It was just about the money. And there were times that it was because I chose that. And there were times, like I talked about a minute ago, where I felt it had to be that. And then there were times it was just about purpose. But the real success came with purpose-led profit. And that, again, is focusing on the thing that I knew how to do, that nobody had to teach me. And those were my talents, my gifts, my skills that came innate. And I also believe it's the thing that absolutely possesses your mind every day. It grips your heart all the time. It stirs your passion endlessly. I mean, that's your thing. And when you go through the series of questions and you figure out, what yours is, and I promise you, just like you did, our listener is going to figure out that it's not just money, that it also is not just making a difference. It's both. Mm-hmm. I guess the bottom line is we all want the same things. If you're in business, we all around the globe, I'll even make the statement, want the same things. It doesn't matter if it's a billionaire who owns 6 multi-billion-dollar homes, million-dollar homes around the globe, right, or if it's the pastor in Central America who makes $365 a year. Everybody wants to be healthy. Everybody wants to have some balance in their life. Everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants to be seen as reasonably intelligent. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to have peace. Everybody wants to have some loving relationships. Everybody wants to have honorable income and finances, and it depends on who they are as to what that means. And everybody wants to have a highly rewarding occupation. And again, that includes the stay-at-home parent, because that's the highly rewarding occupation for them. When it's all over, we want to know that we've made a mark. And these things that I just went through are what everybody wants. And what I believe as entrepreneurs is when we figure out what it is we want and how to connect that to what we do with our business, not only do you begin to feel very at peace and very fulfilled, but you make more money because of what you just said. You begin making your mark. You begin realizing that your business isn't just there for you to have a job, for you to have an income, but because we're all individual people. See, I don't think it's personal life and professional life. I don't buy that. I think it's life.
Right.
And I think what I bring to the table is me in my life, whether I bring it to the table in business, like the meeting I just came out of with my CFO, or whether I bring it to the table with my brother and sister-in-law who spent the night with us at the lake house this weekend. I'm the same person. And when we realize that, we come up with what we want and we connect purpose to profit, everything changes. Everything explodes. It just happens.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a dynamic that happens that's very hard to put your finger on. You become much more powerful in your efforts. And now that may sound a little too touchy-feely or hokey to some people, but and does that strike a chord with you when I say more powerful in your efforts and who you are in your efforts?
I think that you get to a point, and like you said, it could be a travesty, it could be a major financial loss, it could be a health issue, it could be some big change in your industry. Something will happen for your business, because like you said, it can feel touchy-feely, so we'll back away from that for a second. But nonetheless, there's some kind of circumstance that takes place that gets your attention. Mm-hmm. And you start saying, like you did, is this all there is? Isn't there more? I don't feel like I want to just get up and just go to my business every day. I want to feel like it's making a difference, or I want to feel like it fulfills some kind of big purpose. And I think what it comes down to, again, to get away from touchy-feely and to get really into business, it's systems. But what I'm saying is, I got a system for my touchy-feely stuff too. Right. It's all systems. If we look at what we want and then ask ourselves a very tough question, but very simple answer. Why don't I have it yet? And we're very honest. I do a lot of this with my coaching clients. We do a lot of this with our licensees. Why don't I have it yet? What we're going to find out is a lot of times we just don't know how. It's not that we're not willing. It's not that we don't believe it can be done. It's not that we don't have something driving us and that we don't have goals, but we don't have a system. If I don't have the system, and I didn't, if I didn't have the system to have purpose-led profit, to have, to know how to measure, to know exactly what marketing tools to use to get the results I wanted, to know how to put a sales presentation together, to have the number of units sold that I wanted to have sold. If I didn't have the system for that, and also the system for marrying it with my purpose and then letting that drive my marketing, I wouldn't have been able to do what I've done. I knew the system had to exist. I just knew it. But I kept only finding bits and pieces. Like, we can find good marketing systems, right? We can find good goal setting systems. We can find good sales training. We can even find good ways to make memories with people we loved. It seemed too complicated because there was just too much all over the place. So I just put it together and created something called PurposeLed Profit and Success with Substance. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the system may be an easier way to come past the event that I happen in my life, because, hopefully everybody doesn't have to go through that difficult of a time to have an awakening. For me, one of the things that brought me clarity is once I finally did lose everything, I was on my knees and there was really no room for any BS. And so, I had years of baggage of things that I felt like needed to exist, and I needed to continue this. And once you lose it all and you're starting over, it's up to you, and you can make the decision to just drop some of those expectations that you've placed on yourself and start new. And when I finally did that and moved out of the woe is me phase into taking action, I was able to make what took me 15 years the first time. I was able to make it back in 18 months. And the person I become after that was vastly different for the experience that I went through. Your system kind of circumvents what I hear you saying, circumvents the need to go through such a a tough life situation, right? Am I understanding you right?
That's absolutely right. It really brings you down to, hopefully, without having to go through the travesty, it really brings you down to, you and I have said it now during our conversation about 5 or 6 times, what really matters, what's really important. And getting rid of the misnomer that, well, if I'm in business and I own this business, all I exist for is to make the business make money. You do exist to make the business make money. That's why you own a business. But you also exist for having less stress, for having more time for the things that matter to you, for having true love, for having greater peace, fulfilling your purpose, having more freedom. You exist for those things too. And when you stop and say what really matters, like Travis, you just shared, you went, wait a minute, what's really important? Okay. And as a business owner, you said, and I'm a business owner and I want to be successful financially. And because maybe I want to give that money away, whatever you want to do with the money. But if we're in business, we're supposed to make money. So we come down to what really matters to me. And then we come down to, well, what do I want that I don't have? Big question. Like I said, why don't I have it yet? Finding the right system to get both of those into place. And bottom line is getting your head thinking in the right direction about money and about success. And I did it, and I didn't even know this. Listen, I hung out with, I'm privileged out of my mind to call some of the most amazing people in the world my friends, and shared stages with them. Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Dennis Waitley, Brian Tracy. And I mean, I could go on and on. Now, the only reason I'm saying that, not to brag, I'm saying that to say, man, when you hang out with those kind of people, you think your mind and your thinking is right on, right? Yeah, no. Mine wasn't. I thought it was. But when I really got my head thinking in the right direction about money and success, and, studying some things, reading the right books, but it was really when I started interviewing people for my book, In Business with God, that everything changed about my perspective. Then coaching and masterminding just made me better and held me accountable. But when I did interviews, I started finding out that people, they want to believe, like you called it a minute ago, you said they want the feel good, right? Mm-hmm. Or they want to really do the work and make the money. But I was finding that they didn't intersect very often at all. I either found that people wanted to, like you just said, be on their knees and pray and wait for manna to fall from the sky. Not that it hasn't, it just hasn't recently, okay? So they either wanted to be on their knees and pray, or they wanted to get a system, go to work, and make some money. Well, what I am saying is when the two intersect, and you have whether it's the spiritual things or it's the goal-setting things or it's the feel-good things or whatever we want to label them, when you have those things intersecting with systems for making money and you know what your money goals are, and you actually even let those make a difference goals drive the money goals. I mean, I call it go mad marketing, go make a difference marketing. When you let your purpose drive your marketing, you make more money when you have the right system.
So go deeper with me on that. When you let your purpose drive your marketing, give me some examples of real world examples or personal examples so that we can drive that home.
Boy, let me tell you, I know we talked about measuring already, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
Okay. We count leads in our business, actual leads, people who are prospects interested in what we offer. But Travis, before leads, I count lives. I count the people that we get to touch, the people that we get to impress our message upon. You may or may not be a lead for our business, but you're certainly a life. Our listener today may or may not be a lead, but they're certainly a life. And I would count those lives. So my purpose is to live as a whole and fully alive person, so that every life I touch is aware of and experiencing the stuff in life that matters, achieving goals and becoming all you were created to be. So I begin to go out there. I speak, I write books, I offer systems for success. I offer business systems that make money. I offer life systems for success. And I go speak and I get this message out there with articles and just every marketing avenue you can think. But the bottom line is, what is driving me is my purpose, and I'm counting lives.
Right.
So that I can then come back and say, my make a difference marketing is making a difference in my bottom line. But see, the bottom line, I don't care what anybody says, including Donald Trump, God love him, I'll challenge him on this. How much money you're making does not get you out of bed in the morning. How much money you're making does not get you out of bed in the morning. What gets you out of bed in the morning is your why. Your powerful why, right. Your purpose. And I get out of bed knowing that I might have the opportunity to gather 300 more lives, to give 300 more lives the chance to know you have an anointing. There's a thing you know how to do that no man's had to teach you. And that anointing can make you money. And that anointing can be applied to a system to touch other lives. That gets me out of bed. And that's make a difference marketing. It's measuring, but it's starting to measure with the number of lives before the number of leads. And you got to count the leads. But I'm talking to people right now today with you. They count. I mean, they count. They're listening to us have this conversation. Whether they ever become my lead or not, I'm driven to get the message to them.
It almost seems like to me that you're just starting from a place of appreciation when you say lives, because I think what I'm gathering, and based on my experience also, is most people skip that part and go straight to the lead. Am I picking up on that right?
Absolutely. It comes back to the message.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it comes back to what an absolute honor. I mean, mind-blowing honor it is to get to be with you on this conversation right now. And I don't believe in coincidence. So I believe the people that are listening to our conversation right now, we're speaking to something that's going to benefit them. And that's an honor, you know?
You know, I really like the angle on this. Number one, because it's a different way of thinking. But the synergy that comes from this type of mindset is it allows you to bring everything you got, no matter if there's 30, 300, or 3,000, you're bringing everything you've got because you're focusing on the lives rather than, the other metrics that are not as personal.
Well, let's talk real business for a second. You may be an absolutely fabulous lead collector. You may be an absolutely outstanding closer. But you know what? You might not be. And if you're going for lives, you don't have to be. Now, if you are, all the better. If you've got our systems, you will be. But if you're not a great lead collector or a great closer, if you're going for lives, you will make a lot of money as long as you're counting them. I'm going to go back to a system works when it's measured. So as long as you're counting the lives and working on touching more lives, getting your message into the hands of more lives every day, you'll get more leads, you'll make more sales, you'll make more money, you'll have customers forever, because now you'll also see your customers as lives. I mean, it just keeps perpetuating.
Yeah, it is a shift in perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, and I have to tell you, and this is so biased. This is going to sound so selfish because this is my platform, but this is also what I live and breathe and walk and talk every day. I think it's the right mindset, Travis. I think that when somebody is only driven by money, they end up where you ended up going, is this all there is? And the unfortunate truth is that when somebody is only driven by making a difference, a lot of times they go hungry and their lights get turned off.
Right. Because
they can't even pay their bills. Right. I really believe with all my heart, when you put money and meaning together, success with substance, purpose-led profit, everything changes.
Yeah, it completely makes sense. And I use elements of this myself. The profit and the purpose for me come together. Since you and I both come from very modest backgrounds, there's a lot of people that I grew up with. If they were listening to the show, they would say, well, it's easy for you to say that because you made the money and money doesn't matter. It's hard to explain until you get in that position, because money is a very temporary thing, because it pleases it. You can sprinkle it on several problems that go away, and that's the big benefit of it. It makes those problems that you used to have when you didn't have it go away. And however, it's no magic pixie dust for creating an incredible life. And so what happens is you become very hollow, and it's a different but painful type of feeling. A very, if you can't get comfortable, you can't get, it's an appetite that you can't fulfill. And so it's hard to explain it until you get there. And when you marry those two together, for me, I can work incredible amount of hours, although I don't have to. I want to, because of the alignment between the two.
It's people just, and myself included, at one point in time and for a long time, this was me. I think we look at money, especially like you said, if you've come from nothing like we have. I think that you look at money and you think it's going to bring me this lifestyle, and it does. It does bring you a lifestyle. But if that's the end game, that's where the hollow comes in. Mm-hmm. If you see money for the fun it can bring to others, if you see money for the way it can serve others and help those who can't help themselves, and help build things and grow things, and the way you can give with it, and if you see money for the freedom it can bring, then it's a different tool than just that end game, which, again, because we came from nothing, we probably saw it that way before we figured it out. Right.
So take me further down your system for this. So lives, leads, then what?
Oh, my goodness. We go lives, leads, appointments, shows, closes, purchase per customer, average purchase per customer, how long they stay with us. We have a lot of upsells and cross-sells, so we look at how engaged they are and how deep they go with what we have to offer, because really we are focused on building the whole person no matter where they come in. See, they may come in through one of our weight loss programs. They may come in because they have a wellness business and they want us to help them with our systems to make their wellness business better. They may not have a wellness business at all. They may be a person in business who wants me to help them publish their book, or help them know the system for PurposeLed Profit. Regardless of where they come in, we get to work on helping them grow as a whole person. Now, whole is an acronym. It stands for, W is for well, H is for having balance and hope, O is for optimal personal growth, L is for loved, and E is for economic soundness and advancement. So if I am building the whole person, no matter where you come in, then there are other places that I can introduce you to, either that I offer or someone that I know offers, because my goal is to get you to that point where you are whole.
I like that. It's brilliant strategically in business also, while serving your overall purpose as well.
Yeah, that's that whole win-win thing, right? That you can't. It goes back to Zig's thing, and it'll never ever ever go away. And that's that you'll get everything you want out of life if you just help enough other people get what they want.
Right. Well, I love talking about your system. What I love so much about that is, and it frustrates me because so few people ever talk about this, and these are the key metrics to a successful business. So the leads, the appointments, the next step after this, and I've had this conversation with a large number of people, and hardly no one catches that next one. You called it show. So depending on the business, we either call it a demo or no demo.
Right.
Or a set, no set.
Yep. And how many? It's basically, it's nice it's lovely that we have the lives. I'm thrilled out of my mind. It's exciting that we have the leads because now they're truly prospects, right? And it's great that we have the appointment because now they're really ready to listen to us. But what's really, really cool is when the body is in front of me.
Right. And they've got to show up. Yeah.
That's right. They got to show for the phone call. They got to show for the in-person presentation. They got to show for the free class. They got to show for whatever it is. Because if they show, boy, now I really can have the chance at affecting their life because now we can communicate.
And, tying back successful marketing sources, there's one other metric. It's either I don't know if you've ever heard of it, a one leg or a two leg. Have you heard of that saying?
I'm not sure. I don't know that we use it.
Well, so it's a condition of a show up, right? So say the sale requires both parties to be present.
Both parties. Yes, I have heard it. Okay.
Yeah. So
this is used a lot when you're going in home to do a presentation and you want both spouses there.
Right. And so now this correlation of the no-show or show ties back when you can track that back to the source, which hardly no one ever does. You can tell which media source is bringing the most high value prospects to you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yep. See, when we count lives, depending upon which medium, the television obviously exposes us to a lot of lives.
Right.
But the number of leads that come may be vastly different than the number of lives. Now, what I tell my team is, if you go out and you speak for 3,000 people, that's the number of lives. And speaking is a medium. If you go out and speak for 3,000 people and that's the number of lives and you walk away with 15 leads, that's not such a high percentage.
Right.
Now, if it's a high quality lead, meaning they've booked an appointment and they've got all kinds of reasons that they're going to actually sit down in front of you and you're selling a nice high ticket item, that could be different. It just depends on what the end goal is. But I absolutely look at every single media. We look at number of lives, we look at number of leads, we then go to number of shows and number of closes from each medium so that we can go back and say, wow, that one served us great. That one's not so good.
Right. Good stuff. I'm going to add the lives to the way that I think about things. I always try to bring my absolute best, but I think sometimes depending on the day, situations, and everything that's going on, I may have an extra 2% or 5% that I'm not giving. And I think the lives speak directly to me. While it's a metric to measure how effective your message is, I think it's a way to get the person that's delivering it, me, you, or whoever, to really come to life and give it all you got, not for the purpose of sales, but for the purpose of what you're doing.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. If you simply pay attention to counting the lives and really being aware of it each day, things change. I mean, things change from an internal perspective, like you're saying. How am I affecting the world? Am I grateful? Am I realizing the honor it is to put my message out there? That part is affected, but the business side of you, the metric side of you is also affected because you're going, dang, if I actually affected 500 lives yesterday and we got no leads, maybe I just need to change things. And I'll tell you something that we've started doing. I will give, we encounter great people all the time, whether it's checking out at the grocery store or somebody in a restaurant or just maybe going through a drive-through and somebody really gave us great service. What I've started doing, Travis, is giving them a thank you magnet. And the thank you magnet, has a quote on it. And one of them is, everybody knows this one, that life's not measured by the number of breaths you take, by the number of moments that take your breath away. Okay. So, and I've got DonnaKrech.com on there. And I'll give that to them and say, you took my breath away. And I just wanted to say thank you. Now, that was a life. I know I made a mark on that person because nobody says thank you to anybody. They're always just, their mind is blown when you thank somebody like that. And I give them this little gift. So now I've thanked them. That doesn't happen normally. I've done so in a very sincere way. That doesn't happen normally. I've actually given them a thank you gift. That doesn't happen normally. What do you suppose the odds are they might go check out DonnaKrech.com?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, very high.
And that becomes a lead.
Ah, brilliant. I like that. I like it from a giving standpoint also.
Yeah, see, there you go. Purpose-led profit, success with substance. It's about meaning, and it ultimately can be about money.
Right, right. I'm reflecting on that. I love everything that you're talking about. Again, so few people talk about these metrics, and it floors me because these are some of the core metrics that determine how successful you are. With these metrics, you can't refine what you're doing if you're not measuring these things. And that's the message that I want to drive home for everybody. If you're not quantifying your efforts on A, B, and C, then how can you say, let's do less of A and let's double up on B, right?
That's exactly. You can't make intelligent decisions.
Yeah, that's how, most marketing sources know that people don't track their leads. So they create this marketing budget and they're afraid to turn any of the sources off. So they keep paying all of them because they can't tell which ones are bringing them business. Whereas when you're tracking the things like we're talking about here, you can see that source A rarely ever brings you any appointments that actually show up. Right? And so you can eliminate that. You can take that money and you can allocate it to B. And then you can rinse and repeat. You may find that B and C are performing and D is doing the same thing as A or a quarter of what A was doing, right?
Well, I think a lot of times it's you're talking target market too, because if we come back to lives that lead to leads, there are certain audiences that are going to respond to you and the lives will become leads more regularly. And the more you can hone in on who that target is, and I mean describing that person from a geographic perspective, from a demographic perspective, from an affinity perspective, things they're interested in, things they're passionate about, the more you can hone in on who that person is, now you can go get more gigs like that, place more ads like that, write more articles to that audience, and it's as if you open the floodgates on prospects.
Exactly. Yeah, we consider that, or we call that avatars. How about you?
Yep, same thing.
Yeah, okay. Hey, let me ask you, what book or program made an impact on you related to business that you'd recommend and why?
I will tell you the first book, I've read a lot of books, and a lot of books on business, a lot of books on personal development, but I'll tell you that when I read The Rockefeller Habits, it really probably changed everything for me. And I would say that was, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 8. Because it's not just hey, here's a concept. This is an actual, here's how you do this, here's how you do this, here's how you do this. And it's a lot of it is based on meeting structures. And a lot of it is based on having meetings that are productive, not just having meetings to have meetings. And how to do stand-ups. We do a stand-up meeting every day in our company. It's literally standing up, and it's 15 minutes in the morning where everybody talks about, what they're going to contribute to the day based on a number, okay, what they said they'd contribute yesterday and how that went. In our particular meetings, we go around, we talk about that main number one for the day. And in our particular meeting, we end that meeting in prayer because we start our day with prayer. That's just our company. But that meeting is 15 minutes long. And that meeting lets everybody know what everybody else is up to and that we're all headed towards the goal. We're going to accomplish the goal. The idea of the stand-up meeting is one of the many things I got out of the Rockefeller Habits.
Yeah, I read the book right around the same time as you. I agree with you. It's a great book. What's one of your favorite tools or pieces of technology that you've recently discovered, if any, that you'd recommend to other business owners and why?
I have a couple different types of businesses. I obviously have local businesses, right? Brick and mortar local businesses where you open and close a door. I have information businesses where I speak and I coach and I have products and I have books. I would say there are a few type pieces of technology that actually cross all these boundaries. Webinars are one of them. Landing pages are another. And hosting a webinar, a free webinar, I might suggest, for a local business, as well as an information business. We'll put those lives in front of you and help you get your message out. Now they can go to a landing page, become a lead. I mean, that changes everything. And most local businesses don't participate in those two amazing pieces of technology. I love voice broadcasting. Because if a person's connected to your message and they can hear your voice, they respond to your voice when you put a good offer in that voice broadcast. I love Dragon Naturally Speaking. I love the whole idea of just talking and letting that Word document create itself. It's a way to produce articles and put your systems into a document so much faster than typing. At least it is for me.
Mm-hmm. Are you a PC or Mac?
I'm PC.
Oh, on the Mac, you can press the FN button twice, and the computer will dictate for you.
Of course, you're a Mac person trying to seduce me, a PC person. Of course you are.
Yeah.
You little Apple junkie.
Once you tried it, you would not go back. Although it does take a little while.
That's what I've heard.
Right. Hey, let me ask you, what quote would best summarize your belief or attitude in business?
There's always a solution, and it's mine. The quote is mine. There's always a solution. Listen, I know that things happen to us in business and in life where we want to stay in bed and put our thumb in our mouth and keep the covers over our head. I get that. I mean, facing bankruptcy, cancers, being beaten up by an abusive ex-spouse, I get it. But the thing is, when you lay there long enough and go, well, is this going to get me where I want to go, laying here with my thumb in my mouth with the covers over my head? No. There is a solution. There is always a solution. And when you keep your mind focused on that, your subconscious lets you find that solution, and success happens.
Great advice. Do you have any special superpowers that you could share with us?
Well, I don't know about superpowers, but I can sure offer some gifts if our listener would like them.
Yes, please do.
We lead every year a goals workshop, and it's called Power to Prosper Goals Workshop. In it shows people how to set their goals, like we were talking about earlier, how to figure out why they're not where they want to be. I also have a program that teaches people how to double their income while still creating more time for the stuff in life that matters to them. And I teach that concept in my book called Success with Substance. I would be thrilled, Travis, to offer our listener both of those transcripts and the book free. Just free. Come DonnaKrech.com is where you would find that. If by chance a person goes to DonnaKrech.com and they don't see this particular offer, I would say opt in, because that offer is back there. If for some reason the language isn't on that front page, this is what we give. And there are actually several other things. I have a program called Never Ending Motivation. I give those transcripts as well. Never Ending Productivity. Just, we'll give it, to start letting people have, as you call them, the superpowers that we have.
Wonderful. I love it. Remember that you can find all the links to the books and the resources, even a transcription of the episode in the show notes. Just go to rockstarentrepreneur.network.com and just look for the episode. It's number 124, Donna Krech. And or if you're looking for any other, just look for the episode number, and all of those details are there for you. Before I close the show today, my quote for today comes from another unknown source, and the quote reads, "The pain you feel today can be the strength you feel tomorrow. For every challenge you encounter, there's an opportunity for growth." This is Travis Lane Jenkins signing off for now. To your incredible success, my friend. Take care.